In the 1970s, the U.S. Air Force decided to replace its Lockheed C-130 Hercules tactical cargo aircraft. For this purpose, they held a competition named Advanced Medium STOL Transport. The aviation giants, Boeing and McDonnell Douglas, proposed the YC-14 and YC-15 respectively. But in a bolt from the blue, the AMST competition was canceled. The United States Air Force ultimately started the CX program in November 1979 and chose McDonnell Douglas to develop a new aircraft. The manufacturing company modified the previously proposed YC-15, but the new project was not a piece of cake. After a lot of uphill struggle, they finally got it in the bag, and the product was named C-17 Globemaster 3. It became evident that when a mission needs precision, then this workhorse, with its versatile features, stands tall among others. After 3 decades since its launch, the need of this global guardian still hovers around, but its future is not determined yet. To address Cold War strategic and transportation needs, the C-17 provided the most reliable and adaptable solution. The symbol of hope and epitome of versatility has remained the backbone of several military units and their global missions. Today, in this video, we'll go down the rabbit hole to find out how this mechanical giant dominated the skies for 3 decades. Stay tuned. In December 1985, McDonnell was awarded a full-scale development contract under Program Manager Bob Klepper to develop an aircraft which could address the strategic and transportation problems. The main goal of developing such an aircraft was to carry outsized cargo with sufficient flying range and landing ability at smaller airstrips. The project was never an engineering milk run, but rather something that seemed like the U.S. Air Force was trying to build castles in the air. It was expected to do things that giant aircraft had never done before, from landing on unpaved airstrips as a tactical airlifter to carrying tons of cargo as a strategic airlifter. The C-17 was expected to be a jack of all trades. The U.S. Air Force aimed to replace the aging C-141 and retire one for each C-17 delivery. The initial production years remained challenging for the manufacturing company, and consequently, several generals, advisors, and managers were fired. The development was protracted multiple times due to design and fiscal issues. Such delays and one after another design rejections incurred losses of up to $1.5 billion for the company during the initial developmental stages. A boiling point came when the mission was called the problem-plagued C-17. Eventually, it was threatened with cancellation, as the company could not meet the Pentagon's deadline. Boeing, however, seized the opportunity and initially reduced the first run to 120 instead of the previously committed 210 airplanes. Due to the inevitable delays and concerns, finally, in 1991, the C-17 was introduced to the skies for the first time. Despite initial fiscal and developmental struggles, the C-17 quickly became a feather in the Air Force's cap. It reached a level that was unattainable for many contemporary aircraft for years. Consequently, the U.S. purchased more units than it planned. The aircraft was built between 1991 and 2015 by 2 manufacturers, McDonnell Douglas and Boeing. The latter purchased the former in a merger agreement in 1997. The plane acquired the forename Boeing with it. The production run lasted almost 20 years, and up to 250 aircraft were produced, of which the Air Force purchased 223. The aircraft carries the name of the previous 2-piston engine military cargo aircraft, the Douglas C-74 Globemaster and Douglas C-124 Globemaster II. The air crews nicknamed it the Moose because the pressure release vents sound like a moose during refueling. Carrying the legacy of the Lockheed C-141 Starlifter, the C-17 also adopted a few features of the Lockheed C-5 Galaxy. The Boeing C-17 Globemaster is a high-wing, 4-engined, T-tailed military transport system carrying up to 77 tons of load. It's an intercontinental range aircraft that can land on small airfields and has extraordinary airlift capability. Pratt & Whitney turbofan engines provide enormous thrust to the aircraft, which are reversible and used for rapid deceleration and descent maneuvers. With paratroopers, it can reach an altitude of 45,000 feet and travel a range of 6,230 miles. The sizable, strategic aircraft is designed to operate from short and narrow airfields using advanced blown air flaps. The aircraft is 174 feet long and 55 feet high with a wingspan of 170 feet. This design helps the aircraft generate lift and enables the aircraft to land on short, unprepared runways. C-17's ability to operate on unprepared airstrips is unmatched by other aircraft of its size. It can operate on unpaved airstrips, has the ability to make a turn in a small radius, and can make a 180-degree star turn on a 90-foot wide taxiway. The C-17's cockpit has an integrated electronic cockpit with pilot, co-pilot, and observation positions. The cargo compartment is rapidly adaptable from conventional cargo transportation to being rigged for airdrop operations. With a maximum payload capacity of 170,900 pounds, the gross takeoff load is 585,000 pounds. The plane can travel unloaded up to 6,230 nautical miles without refueling and has a global range with in-flight refueling. At 28,000 feet, it can attain a cruise speed of 450 knots, or 0.74 Mach. Moreover, the intelligent defense system lets the plane detect missile threats and then activate countermeasures. Since its initial operations, the Moose has become the primary workforce for military fleets. The versatile vehicle has gained a lot of trust from multiple military units. The C-17 mainly performs tactical and strategic airlift missions, transporting troops, cargo, medical, and humanitarian aid. It played a pivotal role in Operation Enduring Freedom in Afghanistan and Operation Iraqi Freedom in Iraq. Being a cargo plane, the Moose can carry tracked vehicles, tanks, helicopters, and weapons. With a maximum payload of 170,900 pounds, the airdrop capabilities include a single load of 60,000 pounds. The container delivery system can airdrop up to 40 containers. It can also carry 102 paratroopers. In addition to combat support activities, the C-17 has provided humanitarian aid after major natural disasters worldwide. It has also performed satellite transporting missions to launch bases and carried equipment for mega projects. Another feature that adds to this humanitarian aid use is its ability to carry 134 passengers and 54 ambulatory patients and attendants. Moreover, the Giant can also hold a CH-47F Chinook helicopter, up to 18 military pallets, and 77 tons of cargo. The notable cargo missions to Afghanistan and Iraq transported troops, weapons, and tons of military aid. In addition, U.S. Air Force C-17s also assisted its allies in airlift needs, such as the transportation of Canadian vehicles to Afghanistan and Australian forces to East Timor in 2006. Moreover, the C-17 was also a central part of the airlift system during French operations in Mali. The Moose has also been used for the U.S. Antarctic Research Program for Operation Deep Freeze, replacing the C-141. The C-17 also carried presidential limos and helicopters to several domestic and foreign meetings. It's also been used in missile defense tests at Wake Island, during which medium-range missiles were launched from the C-17 against THAAD missile defense systems. In a nutshell, it can be said that the plane's name is usually at the top, whether it's about delivering military passengers and cargo or sending humanitarian aid. Despite being a large strategic cargo plane, it would be interesting to know that it did not encounter any significant incident until 2003. While flying over Iraq, a surface-to-air missile severely damaged the aircraft, destroying one of its engines. In 2010, in another incident, one of the C-17s crashed during a practice mission at Elmendorf Air Force Base, Alaska, killing all crew members on board. Presently, there are 275 C-17 aircraft in service worldwide, serving the U.S. Air Force and other allied nations including the UK, Canada, Australia, India, Kuwait, Qatar, and UAE. After ruling the skies for over 2 decades, the Boeing Long Beach, California facility waved goodbye to the Globemaster III in 2015 after delivering their 279th C-17, marking the end of the type's production. In 2015, 2021, the U.S. Department of Defense decided to sustain the C-17 fleet and awarded Boeing a follow-on contract worth $23.9 billion for 10 years. The contract included the Performance-Based Logistics Agreement, and the first phase of the grant was received in September 2024. A U.S. Air Defense insider thinks that the company is reconsidering the introduction of the C-17 because it's still in demand by various military units. The company has not confirmed anything yet, but the speculations are still in the air. The silence suggests that Boeing is exploring the possibilities, but the budget issues are probably hindering them to be decisive. So let's suppose if Boeing gives the green light. Still, in the most optimistic scenario, it would require a whopping $2.1 billion. Which is a non-recurring cost. Whatever the case, the Moose has amazingly carried its legacy. But is there really a need for development of more C-17s? Would it be capable enough to compete with advanced contemporaries, or would the company come up with a new variant? Let us know in the comments section.